And yesterday, former President Bush continued his book tour, his memoirs that just came out a couple weeks ago. And this time he dropped by for an interview with Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg. And it was definitely a more casual President Bush. Let's take a listen.
Education is a shared interest, a shared passion of both yours and Mark's.
Yeah, it should be.
You saw that Mark recently made
He didn't even graduate from college.
John, I can't imagine he could slouch any more in that chair and be any more relaxed with Mark Zuckerberg than we just saw him there. It's definitely a different President Bush than I think we remember him from the end of 2008 at his last couple of days at the White House.
Yeah, no doubt. It kind of brings to mind, by the way, the joke that George Bush said when he went to Yale. He said that the lesson here is if you fail out of Yale, you become vice president. If you get a C average, you become president.
Of course, yes. He liked to talk about that C average he had. It maybe related him to the everyday man, I guess. We're joined now at the White House by our White House correspondent, Jake Tapper. Thanks so much for joining us from a dreary White House lawn. Jake, the summit, the not summit, the meeting, whatever we're calling it at the White House between the Republican leadership and the president and the Democratic leadership, sort of downplaying it on both sides this morning. What are the latest that we're hearing out of this meeting?
Well, it's still going on. The congressional leaders went in the back door, so we don't even have footage of them coming in. I don't think that expectations have been set very high in terms of what will be accomplished in this meeting. Both sides have really made it clear that they have different agenda items and they view the results of the elections very differently. The Republicans think that it was a complete renunciation of President Obama and he needs to pull back and address and embrace their agenda. And the president and Democrats don't feel that way. They feel it just shows that there needs to be bipartisan cooperation. So we'll see how it goes. I don't have a lot of optimism that much is going to come out of the meeting.
Jake, as you reported last night on World News, the president came out with this plan to freeze federal salaries for the next 2 years. What is your sense as to why he did that before this meeting?
Well, I think that this is one of many small bore approaches that he has presented in the last year and a half. They've known that the deficit and the debt was going to be a major issue in this year and going forward because of all the spending that took place in 2009. Probably there was some element of trying to get a jump on the Republicans, trying to propose this officially, put his flag in it, even though Republicans have talked about a federal civilian pay freeze before the president did. And it also, in some ways, is something of, I wouldn't call it a triangulation, but at least reaching out to the Republicans in terms of talking about serious measures that need to be taken to address the debt and the deficit and seeing if they're willing to step up and propose anything themselves.
Jake, we have just a couple seconds left, but speaking of reaching out to Republicans, John McCain was on Good Morning America this morning and indicated that the START treaty could and will pass in this lame duck session. Obviously, his colleague from Arizona, Jon Kyl, has been holding this up and having negotiations with the White House. Do you think this could be a Obama-McCain, something that could work out over the next couple weeks, work together?
You know, John McCain isn't a leader in the Senate, and Jon Kyl is, and whether it's really up to Jon Kyl. I mean, the votes apparently are there to pass, to ratify this treaty. The question is whether or not Jon Kyl and the Republicans that have been following him in lockstep will allow it to come up for a vote. And based on what Kyl said just a couple days ago, he's not there yet.
Thank you so much, Jake. I'm sorry we got to cut you off. That's all the time we have for today. Thanks for watching.